I'm Kim Master Martino, and welcome to our little webinar series on the benefits of slow looking, Zentangle inspired art, line design, whatever you want to call it, a practice for relaxation, creating calmness and creativity at the same time. I am welcoming you to this School of Line Design in the short webinar series and live Facebook sessions to help develop a community of practice of slow looking and relaxation, and just having somebody to practice this idea of calmness and creativity together sometimes makes all the difference. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about slow looking, about finding your inspiration, and the idea of just some very simple steps in developing your practice. Along the way, we'll come up with some ideas with line design. Often when I'm out and about, I see things like bicycles, circles, shapes, and it just gets me going. So for this one, I know that I started in the center with just some spokey type things. And then as I went around, I thought, wow, it would look neat with some kind of circles. And then as I went around, I thought, well, this design might look nice with some kind of longish semicircles. And then I thought about the spokes in the bike again. I thought, well, how can I bring some more spokes into my design? And before I know it, 20 minutes, half an hour had gone by. And when I finished, I was just relaxed and ready to go on to whatever I had to do next. The practice of observing detail over time is to move beyond that first impression and really create an immersive experience with, in our case, line and line design. But it can happen with a text, it can happen with an idea, it can happen with a piece of art, or even any other type of object. It really is simply a practice that clears a space and to hold and appreciate the richness of the world in which we live and find ourselves in. And the things that define art, or I usually call it my practice, is paying attention for more than 8 seconds. Some of the latest research estimates that the length of a human attention span is about 8 seconds, that there's just so much rapid information change that how do we actually take time to notice little things? And how do we hold on to those inspirations, and what mediums and processes support that inspiration? And looking really helps to think about the pieces, how they can be taken apart, and how they can put back together is really a powerful strategy for close looking. And this really develops an appreciation for the complexity and how the small pieces can come together to form a larger whole. Like, look at those beautiful green plants and how, looking one is pretty enough. But when they become a group, it's amazing the image it produces for us. So building off of the ideas of others actually helps. It helps to think together. It's powerful when it's done in groups. It builds on the excitement that often gets generated. And members of the community will share something that will spark new thinking or bring eyes to something other people may not have picked up on originally. And so I've done a lot of workshops online and face to face, and it really does happen that doing this practice together is better than doing it alone. There's opportunities to finding more and more things to notice. It's noticing what strikes you as obvious, your first impression, what's hidden, what other things can you discover. And the drawing can provide some meaningful insights also, especially when the point of Zentangle inspired art is not to be an artist, but rather to practice a time of relaxation and calmness, and to just notice what appears and to notice more and more detail. And so developing this artistic voice just requires, I wouldn't even say discipline, I just would say time. A little bit of time every day. It requires only a pen and paper and a practice in slow noticing. So this pattern is called Mucha. in Zentangle, and we don't have to do any adaptations because it is the same for our free motion quilting. So Mucha step 1 has a line that starts at the bottom, goes around. Second step, line that goes around, gives a nice bubble on the top, comes right back down to a point. First step has a line that goes around, comes back down. Second step goes in the other direction, has a line, comes back down. And so often when we're making Mucha, we might make a set of 3. 3s tend to look great together, and they just look great. So again, you can download the sheet here, take a look at what might it look like in a square. You might have them coming out from the corners. You might have them growing from the edges. You might have on an all-over pattern, have them on a line across, or you might have them in various clumps around. So give that a try. Let's go to our whiteboard and take a look. What might that look like if we start thinking about different directions? So I would practice Mucha in an upright direction. So that's 1, 2, and I'm just doing groups of 3. Then I'm going to practice it going left to right. So I'm going to go 1, 2, just putting them in groups of 3. I think I like that. I'm going to practice it going top to bottom. And after a while, it just becomes second nature. So we've done top to bottom, bottom to top. We've done left to right. Now let's go the other direction and put it this way. So again, sometimes it will look a little different depending on which direction you're going, but practicing it in a variety of directions allows you to start thinking about what are some variations I might want to make. So I'm just going to keep coming back. I've got a circle here. I'm going to keep coming back to that circle in clumps or groups. Some are bigger than smaller. Some are clumps of 3. Some are coming way over. Some are little. Some are big. And I can just kind of fill in where I need to fill in because I'm always coming back to that center. And this could make for a beautiful random flower. Or they could just grow along a line, might make for a nice border. I might go in one direction, the other direction, travel along the border, fill in another one, travel along the border. So you can see how I might just put them in clumps or filling in and going along there, so we can see how that could look beautiful too. I might have a square and I just might want to go from the corner and fill them in, travel down, go to the center, filling it in. And so depending on what your quilt is or what shapes you've got, we can see how that would be a beautiful design as well. And so once I've got it in my head, I'm going to go to the line designer, and I might want to do a little bit of tracing because now my motor movement is different. Instead of my wrist moving, I'm using my shoulder. And so I'm just using the line designer here, getting the pen so it's on the paper, and I could just be tracing and to get that movement in my shoulder to think about how the pattern feels different to me. Once I've got that, I might practice it a few times. I'm just going to go to a blank sheet of paper. And again, think about different directions. I can go top to bottom. I want to go left to right. So I'm going to go in different directions. Sometimes the bobble's on the left, sometimes it's on the right, and sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're smaller, sometimes they are thinner. And so just practicing a variety of different directions allows us, when we go to the sewing machine, to give it a quick practice and then right to the sewing machine. So this beautiful pattern of a curve and a circle, often in clumps of 3, in a variety of direction, is called Mucha, and that was from Zentangle. Hi, I'm Kim Master-Martino with Line Design. Join me in virtual open enrollment quilting courses and programs to spark joy and creativity. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher and use the Zentangle process for participants to joyfully create free motion patterns. Using paper or whiteboard markers, we get the continuous line patterns into our heads. Using the line designer, we get the pattern into our hands and without wasting any fabric. Then the patterns stay in our hearts as they were created with joy and confidence. The line designer tool is the magic tool. I'm going to show you how this magic tool works. Quilting, going to follow the pattern. Again, I'm just trying to get the movement of the shapes. And once I'm ready, I can just take that same pattern and do it on a blank piece of paper. 3 leaves. I'll do another one. Had a ribbon. And then it had another 3 leaves. These virtual workshops are the answer to patterns that say quilt is desired. They're available on my Teachable site, easy to use, and loaded with beautiful images, videos, and clear instructions. If it's stuck anywhere, I just go through it. And there we have giant quarter improv circle. Currently, I offer 3 courses. Mini Moderns uses lines and shapes that support a foundation for all free motion quilting designs. Aerial Improv uses real aerial views of maps to create improv using rectangles. And Big Block Stack and Shuffle uses multiple blocks cut in piles to create similar blocks. Virtual courses include both recorded and live sessions. All courses are built with focus on community. One participant even said, "Why haven't I heard of this before? Free motion quilting is so much fun." Free motion quilting can be as simple as following a recipe, with personal adaptations to suit personal tastes, of course. You can find courses, free patterns, and tutorials at kimmastermartinoschool.teachable.com or on my website. All workshops and programs are built with community and creativity in mind for quilters of all levels of experience. I'm Kim Master-Martino with Line Design. I hope to see you soon.